You'd best do that old mother little boy a favor. Oh, my friend. Video of young boy being attacked by OBlock YN and forced to cancel his gig in Chicago is going viral. He would discover why the OBlock YNs get back. King is actually called that when he believed he could travel to Chicago and disparage King Von in his home court. Let's first discuss how the entire OBlock and 4K Trey feud began before moving on to that. You must comprehend OBlock's origins and the significance of NBA YoungBoy's moniker when it clashes with theirs in order to truly comprehend why the Oblakans did what they did. OBlock and YoungBoy's beginnings. One name usually comes up when discussing the deadliest blocks in hip-hop. B plays with us, and OBlock is me. We carry him to the garbage after you place his body in a trunk. They are also aware that we play for keeps. They are also aware that we are not sweepers. We're going to sweep, so grab a broom. To keep the streets clean, OBlock fa? Boy, you'd better get a T or get hot. By RP, enter your name. Located directly off 64th and King Drive on Chicago's South Side. This housing development is officially named Parkway Gardens. From the outside, it appears to be simply another complex of affordable apartments. However, it's considered a landmark in the rap scene, with some even calling it America's most notorious block. That wasn't always OBlock's name. The name was inspired by the 2011 murder of O.D. Perry, a young man. His age was only 20. When rival gang members allegedly killed him, he was one of the most prominent Black Disciples members in the area. He was immortalized by the community, which renamed Parkway Gardens OBlock in his honor. And the name became significant after that. OBlock became the face of the Chicago drill scene as it exploded. Fredo Santana, Lil Ree, and Chief Keef. Rappers weren't the only ones. These young men were making their mark on the global scene. Their music was unadulterated, unrefined, and directly from the trenches. Millions of children in America first learned about Chief Keef when he released Love Sosa and I Don't Like It was more than music. They were 3-minute songs that combined aggression, loyalty, and survival. The block immediately became known as a place where loyalty was valued beyond all else, and where brothers were lost to gun violence. OBlock was suddenly a brand, for better or worse. Rise of King Von and Lil Durk's F. King. Von ensured that the world would never forget OBlock if Chief Keef placed it on the map. Von embodied the energy of the block, street-certified, charismatic, and reluctant to describe in detail what it was like to grow up there. His series of bizarre tales was more than just music. It was street folklore in the modern era. He seemed to transport you into a situation with each phrase, showcasing the play-by-play of shootouts, robberies, and survival. Von was not alone, though. Lil Durk was his. Since the early days of the drill, Durk had been steadily establishing his name as the family's exclusive brand. Durk provided it reach, while Von gave OBlock its clearest voice. From a local drill artist to a well-known rap musician by the late 2000s, Durk worked with Drake, Future, and other artists. However, despite all of that accomplishment, he continued to support OBlock. Van and Durk were hazardous together because of this. Durk's popular platform combined with Van's unadulterated enthusiasm transformed OBlock from a Chicago block into a global sensation, and their allegiance was unwavering. Durk referred to Von as his twin and brother. Von blew up under the F umbrella when he did. It was more than simply a personal jab at Von or OBlock. It meant defying the F movement as a whole. The wild card of NBA YoungBoy.The. While OBlock was establishing itself in Chicago, Baton Rouge, hundreds of miles distant, was preparing for another hurricane, Louisiana. His nickname is NBA YoungBoy, but his real name is Kentrell. The boy's early years were a complete mess. His grandma reared him primarily after his father was given a 55-year prison sentence. YB had already been in and out of juvenile detention by the time he was a teenager, but he used music as an escape from the madness. His 38 Baby mixtape was on fire by 2016. Fans were reminded of early drill by his harsh delivery, raspy voice, and raw intensity, but with a southern twist. YB didn't rap about champagne and fancy automobiles. He rapped about baby mama drama, paranoia, and shootouts. And suffering and fans came together. YoungBoy was unique because he was genuine. He wasn't attempting to appear professional. Like other rappers, he wrote tweets and dropped mixtapes, and his cult following expanded with each release. Soon after, the phrase YoungBoy.The became a meme on the internet. Fans would post YoungBoy.The in comments on any album that was released, making him the most divisive rapper of his time. However, the popularity came with a lot of drama, including arrests, feuds, probation violations, and more. YoungBoy was known for anarchy and unpredictability, but OBlock was known for aggression and loyalty. He turned and became the wild card of the South. YoungBoy and OBlock appear to be very different on paper. One was a Baton Rouge rapper, the other a housing complex in Chicago. In actuality, though, they were quite alike. They both hailed from places where survival was uncertain. Raw, unfiltered storytelling helped establish their names, and they both used suffering to gain influence. This is what made their final confrontation so risky. Neither side was designed to give up. OBlock flourished on revenge and loyalty. Little Boy thrived on refusing to give in under duress. War results when those two forces are on a collision course rather than in peace. King Von versus Quando Rondo, The Spark. Yes, Sean and Rick. GBI claims that after visiting Opium nightclub, rapper King Von and his group headed to Monaco Hookah Lounge, where they caused mayhem in the parking lot. Music on November 6, 2020. In Atlanta, the spark ignited the fire. King Von met up with YoungBoy's close associate Quando Rondo outside a nightclub. Von was seen swinging at Rondo in the surveillance tape. Chaos broke out in a matter of seconds. There were gunshots. Quando's close friend Lil Tim was the one who fired the shot. King Von was immediately murdered. It was awful for OBlock. Their brother, their storyteller, and their growing star had vanished. YoungBoy was immediately linked to it by the streets and the internet. Despite the fact that he wasn't there in person that evening, Wando was his guy, his artist. They saw that the YoungBoy's hands were covered in Van's blood. The streets, internet, and fallout respond. The result was unsightly. Timelines were overflowing with blame from fans. Memes, as well as the scenario was portrayed in narratives as involving more than simply Von and Rondo. F against NBA was the result. YoungBoy versus OBlock. Lil Durk used music as a way to express his sorrow, delivering nuanced yet scathing bars directed against Quando and YoungBoy's crew. There was an implicit message in songs like Bakor and later collaborations with musicians like Lil Baby. The beef had not ended, and Van was not forgotten. YoungBoy, meanwhile, continued to be his typical erratic self. He occasionally ignored the conversation. At other times, he used subliminals to fuel the fires. The gap widened. What began in Atlanta as a personal altercation became one of the most notorious rivalries in contemporary rap. Hint of a collision path. This is why it's important today. OBlock has a history of standing up for its reputation at any cost. No matter what, YoungBoy has a reputation for never giving up. Fans weren't expecting just another show when YB announced his tour, which included a September 24th engagement in Chicago. They witnessed the collision of two histories. A long-brewing feud that is now headed straight for the stage is OBlock's suffering and YoungBoy's disobedience. Additionally, YoungBoy was honing his own sword across the map as OBlock bore the burden of Van's heritage. Social media, music, and now his countrywide tour as a weapon targeted at Durk and his supporters. This leads us to the following chapter. The tour that has Chicago on edge. YoungBoy's tour and his constant criticism. Fans immediately notice something as YoungBoy prepares for his upcoming national tour. It's not your typical run of shows. There seems to be a hint of battle with every stop, announcement, and post. Additionally, September 24th in Chicago is marked as the most dangerous date on the calendar. Let's be clear now. YoungBoy hasn't exactly been quiet about his feelings toward OBlock, Durk, or anyone associated with them. He has, if anything, doubled down. Y has been posting images on Instagram and Wax. They give the impression that this tour is more of an assertion of supremacy than a celebration of music. For instance, he wrapped this Squid Game OBlock pack, which gets rolled up in his song Bring the Hook. OBlock's name became widely known just because of the bar, and he hasn't taken it back. If anything, YoungBoy always manages to press the button again when people expect him to relax. It's not only the music, either. YB's actions on social media have been adding gasoline to the fire all year long. He has been wearing green bandanas, posting pictures with mysterious titles, and posting pictures with loaded messages. Something that his Never Broke Again movement and its continuous conflict with F are intimately associated with. Lil Durk has also been contributing to the rivalry's continuation. The back and forth hasn't let up. From subtle barbs on his 7,220 project to less subtle lines during live performances. Additionally, the fan bases are equally devoted. When Durk or YoungBoy posts, it feels like a virtual battlefield to go through the comments area. This is where the tension increases even further. YoungBoy did not announce his tour cities at random. In particular, he's fixated on Chicago. And that can appear normal to the outside world. Chicago is, after all, one of America's largest rap marketplaces. However, for those who are familiar with the past, it seems as though YB deliberately chose that location, as though to say, yeah, I'll come right to your backyard. The announcement alone generated a lot of responses. Some fans couldn't wait to witness YB live. Others, however, pointed out the danger right away. YoungBoy doesn't consider Chicago to be a neutral place. Durk calls it home base, but more significantly, OBlock does. Furthermore, YB has a history of transforming performances into statements. Whether it's dripping in or walking out, his shows are never just about music. Whether it's indestructible clothing or subliminal shots from stage visuals, they have to do with messages, and the message is really clear in this instance. He isn't going to back down from Durk, OBlock, or anyone else who stands in his way. One question thus looms large in the air as the tour draws nearer. Will September 24th be simply another YoungBoy show? Or will it be the night that all of this online nonsense finally comes to life? Because OBlock isn't merely observing from the sidelines while YB is firing shots from the stage. According to several of their members, they will actually be inside the building. This is where the story takes a terrible turn. The internet buzz, the VIP passes, and the threats. It didn't take long for OBlock affiliates to begin discussing the YoungBoy's Chicago stop. Nor were they discussing it in whispers. Members publicly stated in comment sections, on Instagram Live, and in street interviews that they would not simply allow YoungBoy to pass through their garden unnoticed. The internet went nuts when one OBlock YN member even went viral for saying, "We bought VIP passes to the show." It's unclear if this was a genuine action or just trolling, because those words are more than just amusement if you are aware of the past between YB and OBlock. They have the sound of a prearranged scenario. There was more talk than that. YoungBoy will be welcomed in the city according to some OBlock affiliates. Memes ridiculing the notion of him performing in Chicago without any problems were published by others. The tale was quickly taken up by YouTube channels, blogs, and fan pages, which magnified every word until it appeared more serious than it actually was. The frightening part is that it doesn't take much for internet discourse to have real-world repercussions. Thousands of admirers are persuaded that OBlock has a plan for September 24th after just one Instagram Live and a few screenshots. In the meantime, OBlock's standing is supporting the excitement. The street has been portrayed as one of America's worst neighborhoods for many years. Drill music, social media, and documentaries all reinforce the notion that if there's one location you don't want to try your luck, it's there. Fans, therefore, don't dismiss their affiliates' candid remarks about pulling up on YB. Rather, they take them seriously. Supporters of YoungBoy are retaliating at the same time, claiming that OBlock is bluffing and that they are only trying to gain influence by using YB's name. Some even contend that no one would dare enter a performance venue with high security. Others, however, point out that there have been many violent hip-hop shows throughout history, From backstage altercations to parking lot shootouts, fans began to doubt the show's safety when the argument became so heated. Without significant security, will WB even be able to perform in Chicago? Will there be more police officers at the location? Or will the concert be completely canceled due to the fear of something happening? This whole situation is going viral because of the uncertainty. Because the plot seems to be being written in real time, even though the concert hasn't happened yet. YoungBoy's supporters are standing up for him. His adversaries are circling, and everyone else is watching to see if the conversation results in action. We now reach the last countdown as a result. Chicago feels as though it is holding its breath as September 24th draws near. Will this be the largest bluff OBlock ever pulled? Or the riskiest concert of the year? The countdown to the 24th of September. Blast or bluff? This is where the risk begins. It's not just another concert on September 24th. Most fans think about it as a boxing battle that is just waiting to happen. Chicago wasn't just about music when YoungBoy added it to his list of tour stops. It involved directly confronting the opponent. Territory. This has not been tolerated on social media. Comparing it to the time 50 Cent challenged Ja Rule to face him on stage in the past. Some fans are promoting it as the ultimate fight. Some claim that OBlock would not genuinely risk everything by attempting something in front of thousands of cameras, and that this is just smoke and mirrors. However, there is also the negative aspect of the conversation. Screenshots purporting to be from OBlock affiliates who have already received VIP tickets. There have been circulating tweets warning that if Y truly touched that stage, it would be up. The mere notion of this has produced one of the most stressful countdowns in the rap game, even if half of it is bullshit. Not seen in years. Furthermore, he hasn't exactly calmed things down. YoungBoy, he has been hurling gas on the fire, making fun of Dirk in songs while on tour, putting cryptic messages online, and making it clear that he is not avoiding anyone. Fans believe that September 24th might either be the biggest setback of his career or a moment that goes terribly wrong because of that mindset. Not to mention the wider picture. The cops in Chicago are aware of this. That night's security is sure to be crazy. Undercover cops, metal detectives, and possibly even feds are present because if anything happens, it's no longer just a rap feud. Another headline about hip-hop violence makes it national news. So the issue is this all a bluff? A war waged with lyrics and tweets rather than guns? Or are we about to witness a historic night in hip-hop? Because the strain increases as September 24th draws nearer. Nowadays, fans expect more than just to attend a show. They want to know if OBlock actually fulfills their threats or if YoungBoy actually enters the lion's lair. And it just takes one spark to blow everything up when that many people are in one place, on one stage, and in one city. Thus, we are left to wait. The 24th of September is set in stone. Little boys are still standing tall despite the threats in the air. Will it all end in bloodshed or smoke, though? Let's discuss it. The end. The quiet before the storm. Here we are. Then, the internet adamantly declared that they had seen fresh video of OBlock assaulting YoungBoy on stage. Let's be honest, though. Only the rumors are saying that the countdown to September 24th. When YoungBoy is scheduled to arrive in Chicago, the very center of enemy territory is what's real. And this is the reason the narrative is so crazy. On the one side, there is YB, who is bold, belligerent, and unyielding, using his words to make every stage into a battleground. But then there's OBlock, a name inextricably linked to Dirk's empire, Chicago street history, and King Von. After years of circling one another, two forces are suddenly headed for collision. Will everything fizzle out, or will it blow up into chaos? Another online rap feud that never goes away. One thing is certain, but only time will tell. Every fan will be watching, every camera will be rolling, and every headline will be waiting as that spotlight lands on the stage in Chicago. Because if something happens on September 24th, it will be more than simply a concert. It will go down in history. A concert. It will go down in history.